Progressive high school. Very progressive.
What do you mean by progressive?
Well, first off, the school could only have a certain amount of people in it. It was 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. 75 people allowed max. That was done by design. The reason for that cap was never revealed, but it was revealed that it was done for a purpose, a very important purpose, and it was based on group dynamics and social dynamics. Student body would be responsible for governing itself. See something, say something, leading in that direction. You know, the student body would police itself, and people really would call each other out. We'd have Monday morning meetings, and sometimes those meetings would go for hours, just however long it would take. If somebody was called out for something, and the rest of the student body would just demand justice.
What's wrong with group dynamics if that's how it works?
Well, for a small environment such as this, 75 people in a high school, honestly, for me, I enjoyed it. I felt that it kind of put me on track to follow the rules, I suppose. There weren't rows of seats. It was the students were against the wall, so it was just like the students were in a circle, essentially. So it was this idea of equality. Everybody got equal attention in a sense. Nobody's in front, nobody's behind. And the whole thought behind that was, just that nobody could hide from the teacher as well. With the way that this school was, it wanted to bring out your individuality. For example, I was actually super interested in UFOs and aliens and the Illuminati, Freemasonry. So I was actually encouraged, like, you're interested in that? Okay, you can write your term paper on it. So I started writing all of my term papers on these subjects. And then if you really got into something that you were interested in, everybody was pretty stoked about that. The teachers really encouraged that. That model, could be quite beneficial for just bringing out the potential in somebody. One thing that was quite revealing about the whole thing, this is the interesting part about it. At the time you're thinking, this is a place where I'm actually being celebrated, I can excel. Because of my interests and what I was writing about, what was interesting is I got to know on a deeper level the headmaster of the school, or the director of the school. And her background was, she was a freedom writer. She was part of the Black Panther movement. She wasn't African American. She was a white woman. She was heavily involved in this in the 60s. So she was a bit of a rebel herself. And one of the things that she had us do, some of the students, was to order our file from the government. She's like, order this file, send it here, and then I guarantee you when the file comes back, most of the information will be blacked out. So a few of us did that, and it came back, and sure enough, most of the file was blacked out, and it was quite interesting. And even interesting that, she was just instilling that sort of rebellion within us to sort of ask questions. So after noticing that I had this interest in aliens and the Illuminati and Freemasonry and uncovering all of this, she called me into her office one day, and she's asking me, why I was interested in this. And I said, I don't know, I just really feel like there's something to it. And she said, well, I have a PhD in echystics. It's basically the study of all the ologies: psychology, anthropology, sociology. It's the study of the ability of humans to cooperate with one another, how to improve communication between humans. And so she's like, I would go to this one area of the world every year and meet with all the top scientists to discuss how to improve relations. And then she said, for when the aliens come, we're trying to actually figure out how to improve cooperation and communications for when the aliens come. And that was really, obviously, as a 16-year-old, I was really blown away by that, and also the fact that she brought me into her office privately and sort of disclosed this to me, literally like she was confiding in me. This is not, she's like, can I just tell you something? And from then on out, I was quite close with her, and she really took me under her wing and taught me a lot because of my childhood as well, just how much my mom had taken me in and out of so many different schools. At times I had been labeled as ADHD. She told me, you know what, that's not accurate at all. You basically have just been uprooted a lot, and I don't see you as having that. And actually, I don't even believe in that. That was a rewrite on the cellular level as well. So there was a lot that I wanted to believe in with that, and that I did for many years. I really thought, I have so much respect and gratitude for this woman. But at the end of the day, I can see now that she was deceived, that she was a part of this program and this programming and this agenda and raising it up at the grassroots level, at the local level. And this is back in the mid-90s.
So acoustics, what she really was a PhD in is the elements, policies, which we know now to be Agenda 21, which was officially rolled out in 1992
in Rio.
In the Rio summit. H.W. Bush signed us on. Clinton kept us in, and we've been with it ever since. It's a non-binding agreement, which means you would think, well, we don't have to do it. But no, what that means is it doesn't have to go through legislation. It can just be implemented through non-governmental organizations at the local level, and that's what we see happening all around us today. Your mentor was
a participant in implementing this.
A promoter.
Yeah, a promoter.
Of what we know now as the false environmentalist movement, Agenda 21, the agenda for the 21st century, which is in full swing with the global pandemic. That seems to be the impetus to really get it going. 2030 is a year that it's doable now. It didn't look like it a couple years ago, but 2030 is definitely doable now.
Yeah, Agenda 21 for the 21st century, the 100-year plan.
A new world order.
And what's so creepy about it is to see that when you look around, it is all about everyone's starting to tell on one another. It is bringing about this culture of the hive mind, group dynamics, social dynamics, the student body govern itself. And there's something very appealing about that, because you're told, well, you take responsibility for your own actions. And there's something very appealing about that. It gives it a moral high ground in a sense. But what they're really doing is training you to fall in line with group think.
The political context for Agenda 21 is communitarianism. It is the modern progressive movement. What it is it's the kinder, gentler, therapeutic version of communism, where the individual doesn't have the rights, the community has the rights. You don't have to, they're not coming to take your guns because they don't have to. If you want to live in their community, you'll just leave it on the other side of town, or you'll just turn it in. So they're not coming to get your guns. You're going to give them up. You're going to hand them over willingly to be a part of their smart city.
Yeah, you're just going to do
convenient.
it. And this whole thing about the celebration of the individual, while at the same time getting you to fall in line. Yeah, the social justice piece was part of it as well. Part of going to school there and being in the high school is each student had to be a part of writing skits, then acting them out for a play that was put on each year. It was called I Too Am America, on social justice issues, which again, at face value, seems like a really great thing, because it's expressing tolerance for people that, interracial couples, gay couples, this kind of thing. It really makes you feel that you're evolving the society, doing something that is for the greater good, this inclusivity idea, the social justice issue. So again, it all seems very altruistic. It seems like you're heading in the right direction with this. Yeah, the tricky part about doing all those plays about social justice issues is what it does is it ultimately undermines family. It undermines and just ignores the union between a man and a woman. And I guess some could argue that was already implicit in the culture, and maybe it had been beaten into the ground, and these other voices that were marginalized were being called to be brought in the front. But that definitely was the message. I believe that it was actually a strong message to get people to start not believing in the family, not wanting to necessarily have a family. By the time when I was in high school, I was just thinking the last thing I'd want to do actually really is get married and have a kid. I was thinking I want to go into the job force, I want to be me, I want to change the world, I want to get out there, I don't want to be tied down. So you're sort of you're sort of like groomed to be this. Honestly, it's the narcissism that you see that's slowly blossomed as an epidemic around the world, because you're just like, let me feed myself. It's the whole soul searching the self thing. It's really celebrated, and so it's a good thing to want to bring out the voices of people who were traditionally marginalized, but it's just very clever way of just playing on people's traumas